The dreadful times of white America, especially North America, have entered into a time that was predicted by Moses and a prophet between him and Jesus. In the 24th chapter of Matthew, there is a prophecy made by Jesus at the present time of America without mentioning her name. He referred to the country as a world because this part of the earth is referred to in many places by the prophet and by Jesus himself as a wilderness. The name America is not yet 500 years old, so the prophet referred to it as a wilderness and a prophecy. It is terrific. I use the word terrible because it's not a thing that can be described as something mild or something that is moving slowly, nor something that can be recognized so easily by the common people. It is clear to all who can see that white America had reached the stage about which she always had been warned. She always had wanted to keep it a secret because of her so-called Negro slave. She never desired for the slave to know too much of what was in store for her because of enslaving and mistreating her slave. She had robbed them for the past 400 years. She knows them. She knows how they think and how they act to her teaching. She knows the fear her. She knows the slave, but the slave do not know white America, the slave master. The great, dreadful, and awful day's doom is now in the door and window of white America. As long as Christianity works, she thought that she was safe because it is one of the most deceiving and upright misleading religions of the world. Allah God taught me that if carefully examine everything, and this religion of Christianity is designed to make slaves out of black people. If Christianity was a rat rag and wrung out every drop of right slavery for the black man. The world knows this now, but the spiritually blind, deaf, dumb American so-called nigga, to whom I'm calling and appealing to reason, I'm calling them to reason with me on the truth and their own starvation that is now in truth of self and kind, of the enemy of self. There will not be an end to the carcasses between the white America and throughout the world until wrong, evil, murdering, deceiving, robbing the poor black man of the earth is destroyed, and righteousness and justice is practiced. This is the day of God Almighty to set up justice and equality throughout the earth. He's to free the black man, the American so-called, from its deceitful, evil, and murderous enemies. America wished to oppose Allah God and his work of bringing justice and freedom to her one slave. But this is just what Allah God wants. Allah wants America to attack him, to get the fight started, to bring his judgment against her with the fullness of his strength and powers. America is bringing about the political gloom. Here, the politician unable to carve out a future for America. The plan of deceiving the so-called Negro politicians to work against their own freedom, justice, and equality, starvation that Allah God has brought to them, is making the so-called Negro in high office become the enemy of his own people, freedom, justice, and equality. Such office are held out as a bribe to get black politicians to work against the spread of the truth of their starvation. They are happy, and their boss knows that they are. They have a place near him in such office just for the purpose of trying to oppose Allah and his messengers and freeing the poor black man who is in the mud This is causing the political confusion, complete destruction of a house divided against itself. I'm asking in the name of Allah that the American governments agree on the separation of our one slave and their slave masters. Of course, Allah God is significant. We want a home on this earth. We can call home. We do not want to be slave anymore to white people. We do not want to be free Uncle Tom for white people. We do not want to be white man bootlickers and sissy pies. We want to do something for self and go for self. However, white America with a blind, deaf, dumb politician class, or the so-called, will bring a swift destruction upon their heads along with their doom that's unbearable against the enemy. It's not 20 years in the future, nor 15. Let no one deceive you. It is here at our doors now. The dreadful pledges, confusion of white America are beginning to boil. The feud making it boil will not crease until it boils down to the last dregs. The president promise of a better future that white America is making to the so-called nickel will prove to be false. And all for false promises to the American so-called nickel will be short-lived by both because the time of her doom has approached. White America will have to do a marvelous thing of justice, a square deal to turn it back. A fascinating show attempting the Negro to filth and evil will not work. It takes justice to work, to postpone the dreadful days of America, while America lost the war. Friendship is speeding her doom. Right. America, friendship is speeding her doom. See, nobody wants to sit with white America. The nation is at rage. No one wants to sit with her. No forging country wants to sit with her. They don't have nothing to do with her. She's going to burn with fervent fire and heat. So it's going to get to a point you're going to have to leave America. You got to come out of her, my people. Come out of white America and her trichology that she's using on the dead to keep them dead. The country will never be owned by these non-owners. The country can never be said to be the white man's own. The time has come where God is coming to a city near where you live. You know, they always think, my brothers and sisters, that they are mightier than God. They always think that they can thwart his plan and purpose until he comes, who right it is to rule. Delude before the storms. I'm afraid for you that you receive what the people before you did receive. Allah God is very angry with white America and the trichology that she used on the dead to keep them dead. We are very disappointed to Allah God, to the original black man who know himself, a very few, of course. The false show of a glorious future that the wicked is putting on is at hand. We must remember Daniel prophecy that the end of the war, desolation are determined. Before this happened, God will bless the people with a good time, as he did the people of the past who wronged themselves, who did not pay attention to the prophet one amongst them. Allah God destroys them. They thought that they were fooling Allah God, but Allah God surprised them. He made the people rejoice for a short time with a short great prosperity, and at the heights of their great prosperity, suddenly he destroys them. This is the merciful law that Allah has put in nature. Allah, God let a dying person rally before the end. See, white America is going to do the same. White America will rally. People think that she's going to have a great future. Then the end will come in that kind of time. White American will not come while she is going around with her head hanging down, for her head itching and failing because of the things that are coming on her nation. No, she will be made to enjoy good times. Stock markets are going up and lots of shares being sold. This make any man think that there's everything all right. But this is only the lull before the storm. And the Bible warns white America what happens before her. Ancient Babylon enjoyed a full ruling position of her time. King Darius came against her at the time of her full enjoyment of wealth, drunkenness, and her laughing at the slave that she had made of Israel. King Darius came with his army, overcame the sleeping guard, who was sleeping on the security of their life. The Bible prophesies that the enemy would say, "Come, let us go up, destroy her, whose cities is not fenced in." They will come from afar. They may come at noonday, or they may come at the rising in the morning or in the afternoon. But nevertheless, they will come at a time that you thought not. At the war and into the end of the war, desolation are determined, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. The Bible, Daniel 9:26 and 27. I want you to know that which will be poor means it is the devivation of you, white America. If you ever getting back into power again to attack the nations of the earth, you will become one of the worst war areas of all the world, more dreadful than Vietnam and other places that you are planning on going into. Asia will look like child's play when compared to what is going to happen in Europe. The prophet says, "Whom to the land that's shallow with rings." This means America, whose skies is filled with plains. Most of all of the judgment and trouble which are pointed at in the Bible are pointed at white America. Study them for yourself. White America, right up to today, with all of her battles and with her outside enemies, never loses sight of the inside of a poor old black slave. She does not want him to do anything. She wants him to be deceived. She does not want him to accept his starvation. The Allah God is offering the black slave here in white America. Allah God is offering the black slave heaven at once. This he had proved to everyone that believes in Allah God and follow me. I'm the door. By no means can you get by except you come by me. Your prayers will not be heard unless my name is mentioned in them. I'm saying that you can not get a prayer through Allah God unless you mention me in your prayers. Try it and see it. I'm satisfied that those who know this will bear me witness. I have the keys to your salvation. I have the keys to your hell. I can, if you will let me pull you out of hell and set you into heaven. Then I can keep you in heaven. I can keep pushing you and push you into the punishment of hell till you acknowledge that there is no God but Allah, who came in the person of Master Fala Muhammad, to whom praise are due forever, and that Elijah Muhammad is his servant. There is no escape for you today. The only way is through me is through Allah God, me first. For you cannot get through Allah God without getting to me first. The lube before the storm. White America is trying with all of her might to hinder you from getting into heaven. White America make promises to you. She makes promises to me, but she does not intend to fulfill them. Some of white America financial people promise to loan us millions of dollars, but when it comes time to do so, they vanish. But the day will come when we will be able to do the same things to them. It's entirely up to them to make good of this day for themselves and their people by submitting to the truth themselves As the Bible says, the Gentile shall come to the light of your rising. White America wants to destroy God and me. She wants to destroy you by deceiving you against following me. White America lift up all of my hypocrites and advise you to follow them, while she knows that you will be the losers. Look what she had done for Malcolm. White America named universities after him in order for you to follow Malcolm. See, Malcolm turned from Allah, God, and me, started to fall down. See, white America will lift up any one of you that will disobey Allah, God, and myself and come to them. See how they are doing. Everyone that's a hypocrite through Allah, God, and me. White America raised him up for you to follow. White America will glorify his name. Malcolm was no lover of white people. He only lies to them in order to get a chance to fight me. But he was not a lover of them. See, Malcolm was a double crosser. He tried to get to me with the help, as it is written and prophesied that he would do. His name is not written there in the name of Muhammad in history. Another name is used. But his work is there in the history of the hypocrites, in the life of Muhammad. He tried to take advantage while Muhammad was sick. You find this in the writing of Washington Irving, even some scientist writers of Islam. They tell you Malcolm history. But enemy fools you. He did not like Malcolm. But with Malcolm working against me, he used Malcolm. They knew that Malcolm had learned the history of me, but he was not able to change it. And even if the enemy would glorify them, they would come to nothing. For the time as ruling power over black people is up. They knew that better than Malcolm did. They set up for worship all hypocrites against me. Suppose we will worship China and Russia against them, but we do not worship them. For Allah God is more significant than all their nations. Allah God does not see them as a power and force against him. They are so little and weak in their powers. They cannot fight against Allah God and win. The more you fight against Allah God, the more you lose yourself. From the Bible and from this chapter, and from now on, if you do not know that he is tricking you by making you to follow hypocrites, it is your doom. Just watch it. He trails me, goes to the Bahamas, and everywhere that he thinks that I'm going, or where I have been, this is written. I do not fault him for doing what is written of him. I try to do that which is written of me. I do not fault him for what he is made by nature to do, nor should he fault me. For by nature I am. But I fault you if you let this little transgressor of this life and our enemy deprive you of a good future for yourself. We can buy hospitals and places to educate and train our people into the superior education. But you rather give your money over to white Americans and let them spend it on what they want to. And they pay you a little interest. We offer interest too, the highest of interest. But you do not trust us. So we will build right along without your help. We are going to be the winners. It is prophesied that we who believe will be the winners. And my work that was prophesied of me before I was born, we see it today. Try and find a successful one who is working in opposition to me. None of you who are trying to aid the devil against me will be successful in doing so. And the devil knows that. He's not trying to do these things himself, only with you. He knows that he will not be successful in stopping my progress. Not him several times his number, as long as I'm with Allah God. He is with me, and that will be all the days of my life. Now we have fire fed with fuel. This subject of this chapter, my brothers and sisters, is taken from the Holy Quran, Surah 85, verse 5. which says, we do not hope for peace as long as we add to a war that serves as a fuel to a fire. See, the fire cannot go out, my brothers and sisters, as long as we keep it burning by adding more fuel. A dying burning fire is increased when more fuel is thrown into it. There are lots of people who are so anxious for peace so that they can return to committing that which they lack in love, idling, sport, and play. The world that we live and desire, first of all, to hide the truth, to keep the black man who is made blind, deaf, and dumb by the scientific trigonology of the right race, so that the right race can continue to carry on the same deceiving and wickedness that they have been practicing. How can we expect peace where the method used to bring about peace is the same method that started the war, instead of finding the right solution and then practicing the right solution? I said these things for the sake of my own black people, for they are so ignorant to the knowledge of the truth of the time in which we are living. What they would like to do cannot be done. The time to even continue to do what you are doing is up. We must remember again the prediction of the Bible. It has foretold these times. If we understand the Bible, it must certainly teach us that there is no peace for the wicked. For there is no people who preach such a thing as peace and as being true followers of the prophet Jesus, as much as these right Christians do. Day and night, the airways are full of their preaching. To hear them, you would think that they are prophet Moses and Aaron. As the words Jesus put it, they sat in Moses' seat. The right Christians are great deceivers. The Pope of Rome cannot bring peace to the Christian church. He is not enjoying peace himself. So who is that people then that the Bible prophesies of in the book of Isaiah, that he will send peace to them like rivers? Surely cannot be the present Christian right race, for they are the ones who are breaking the peace. Fire fed with feud. See, leaving your own home and country. You go to another man's home and country to make trouble for that people and accuse that people of being the troublemaker. It is the attacker who is guilty of that which follows the attack. I said to you, my black people, you can get away from that old misunderstanding of the time. You're not living in a time which you may be expecting a settlement of the war that will give you what you have always been used to: sport, play, and foolishness. Actually, now is the time that you and I should be wise enough to understand that we should think for self and do for self. If you do not know how to do for self, you shall follow the man to whom Allah God has given that knowledge to teach you how to do for self. With the ocean filled with the fleets of the right Christians, and the sky crowded with their death dealing planes over other people's territories, could you tell them that they should submit to you for peace? If you are able to force them to their knees or to destroy them, then I say yes. If that was the situation, then I will say that they should submit and let you trumpet. But you cannot force them to their knees, for they have been preparing for a war like this for nearly a century. Rather, I should say, they have been preparing and working faithfully for half a century to entertain the attacker with the same type of weapons and better weapons than the weapons you are attacking them with. If you resort to worse weapons, they have worse weapons also. So we are in a time, my brothers and sisters, when arguments to the country of peace is like heaping fuel on a fire. It keeps it burning. We are living in an evil time. I believe, and maybe many hundreds of thousands believe as I do, that the President of the United States of America have good intentions towards citizens of America. When he took over the presidency, the time is against him for the past 400 years and more. Allah God has already given the prophet through the mouth of his prophets of the doom of the wicked. Now is the time when we cannot do anything but take it. It is a dangerous to add fuel to unwanted fire. The fire is the war. Man hearts failing in fear. How true the prophecy of Jesus. Luke 21, 25, and 26 concern the present time. We bear witness that the seas and waves are warring, and that fear is now covering the nation, as shown by unusual heart failures, that is now current amongst man. So as Jesus prophesies, we see he gives us a prophecy in Luke 21, 25, 26, that the seas and ocean are rising to in perplexity. There are more, I say, there are more of these storms that's coming in. Polar vortex, Arctic blast. See, when you get this Arctic blast system that's coming from our jet fuels, you get a cold front meeting with a warm front. Sometimes you get a cold Arctic blast coming from Canada, cold wind blowing from the Colorado and that Gulf of Mexico. Normally, it's under a warm temperature. So you get a cold front meet with a warm front to produce cells. Means you can get a long duration, which will develop a stroll line and produce super cells. A polar vortex through an Arctic blast. Whenever you see our jet stream is so down, you get these storms spewing into the north and to the east and to the south and to the west. So we see the prophecy of Jesus. Luke 21, 25, 26 concern the present time. We bear witness that the seas and waves are warring, and that fear is now covering the nation, as shown by unusual heart failures. It is now current amongst man. These are the signs of the end of the present world. The seas and ocean are heaving up tidal waves to a imaginable height that man has never witnessed before on earth. It's another pledge that's upon the wicked. Since the Holy Quran teaches that the judgment will be such that the earth itself will act, as though a revelation had been revealed to it, because of its perfect obedience to the laws of Allah on that day. Allah will use the power that is in the earth and the sea against the world of evil. The right race thinks that they have control of the power of the earth, sea, and air. It was prophesied that for a time they would subdue and have the use of the power of the sea and ocean until he comes, who right it is to rule. The heaven and earth belongs to Allah God. Now it's his time to rule. There is much prophecy concerning the terribleness of the judgment of the wicked. The power that is in the water is in the hands of Allah God. He used it against whom he pleases. The earth, wind, rain, snow, and ice, and earthquakes are controlled by Allah, God. It is a fearful sight to see the displays of his power with the force of nature, bowing and submitting to his will. I shall warn you that this is now coming into action against the Western world. There will be the destruction of whole fleets at seas. Those which are capable of lying on the ocean and sea bottom will be destroyed. The die is set if a foolish people who, like in the time of Noah, could not see the sign of the rain bringing on the flood, even after the cloud began to darken the sky. They did not see the oncoming rain until it actually started to rain. So it is with America. They pay no attention to the sign of the judgment that's now taking place. As the Bible prophesies there in Revelation 16:9, they blaspheme the name of God, which has power over these pledges. How many in America and the city of Chicago disbelieve, even mock, and swear at the name of Allah, who have power over the force of nature, land, sea, and air? Allah God is now doing as is prophesied. Holy Quran, Surah, chapter 13:41, visiting the land, cursing it of its sides. The foolish still are foolish, tell you it's cash into a narrow place, it cannot turn to the right or left, as it was with the donkey that Balaam was right. He came to a narrow place between two walls. He could not turn around. He had to stop face to face with the angels, be destroyed. The Bible, Numbers 22, 23, and 26. Let it be remembered that Allah God came forth for the redemption to deliver the American black people from their tormentors. Whether we like it or not, He would do this. This is the work of Allah God, which is in effect. Let white America use the history of the fall and destruction of ancient Egypt and of Pharaoh. Let the history serve as they wanted. They were brought to nothing for the evil done to a people whom Allah God has chosen. For example, in these last days, the lost found black slave and their slave masters. The Holy Quran Surah 30:41 is perfectly true in its prediction of a present day nation, sea, and land power. Corruption has appeared in the land and the sea on account of that which man's hands have made. The most great mistake that the black man is making today is just trying to hold on to the brief return to Jesus and that he lived and preached the saving of this white man's world. This is false. Jesus did not preach this. See the Bible. Jesus had a few disciples. See, Jesus also cursed the Jews. Not to mention that he was trying to save them or the Caucasian people. They are teaching a trickology that the white man used to deceive the black man. They do this so that our people will not understand that Jesus declared himself against the world or the Caucasian race, the Bible. He also declared that the word of truth had no place in this right race of people. They have proved this to be the truth by the mistreatment of you and me. The white race had never worshipped any prophet before or after Jesus as the divine man of Allah God. Against their very nature to do this, that is why they kill all the prophets that they are able to kill. They deceive the people against believing in the prophets of Allah God, for they was made in their nature to be the enemies of God and his representatives. Before the time is out, they will be forced into submission to the will of Allah God. This will not be done for the purpose of converting the right race. Allah God will force them into submission to prove that he is able to make everything bow to him. in submission. This is a fulfillment to the prophecy, the Bible, Isaiah 45:23, and to me, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall swear. The Bible says in Matthew 25:32, before him shall be gathered all nations. Holy Quran has a similar prophecy that you shall see all nations kneeling before him. This includes everybody, regardless to their color. Everything in the universe obeyed the natural laws, which it was made subject to by Allah, God. On the coming of Allah, God, he, ha- he has now make everything bow to him. Whether you disbelieve or believe, the Holy Quran, Surah, chapter 382, does not make a difference to him. Whether you are the devil or the righteous, all must bow in submission to the will of Allah, God, on the judgment day. We are now living in the days of judgment. Black preachers, you erase your time and leading yourself and those who follow you to hell by holding on to Christianity. You cannot keep them in Christianity. Christianity is a white man's religion, full of slavery teachings. Christianity was not the religion of Jesus, Moses, or any other prophet who came before them. It had been a fierce on the parts of Allah God to have waited until just 2,000 years ago to give the right religion to the world of man. Allah God give the man the right religion, Islam, in the beginning of his creation of the heavens and earth. Allah God has not changed. His religion is Islam, entire submission to his will. Hell erupts. Why are the nation angry? And who are the nation that are angry at the resurrection of the dead? The 18th verse of the 11th chapter of the Revelation and the Bible plainly teach us that these nations are angry and mad because of the rise of the dead, and that God himself was the source of the power behind the resurrection of a rise of a mentally dead people, the black man. It is the slaveholders who have been the real cause of a mental death of the people. The revelation relates to as being deprived of justice. God comes to give them justice and to justify them as being equal to their slave master as human beings. As you know, for the 400 years of legal slavery, of free slavery, of the American so-called, they had never been recognized even as human beings. As one devil says, they're only 3/5 of a human being. It is true that the history of our treatment by the devil scientists practically made our parents and ourselves less than human beings. This is why I teach that the main right we should seek first are human rights. The American so-called Negro flew in love with his white slave masters and his white slave master children because they're unlike, attractive, and their brothers in Africa. Therefore, the manifestation, an enemy, the devil, and the resurrection makes the dead to see that which caused them to be mentally dead. In the parable of the donkey who poured out upon meeting with angels, he saw that the burden he had been carried on his back was false. Balaam. So, in the resurrection of a mentally dead soul called, they are rising toward knowledge of self. This knowledge makes them refuse to continue to carry their white slave master as something to worship. This have angered the slave master as the donkey refused to anger Balaam. Balaam set about whooping and beating the donkey to force him as unusual to care and respect him as his master. This use of force to compel the one slave, the black American, to remain with them even now in order to make them members of society is only false recognition of the black American, this lost and now found people of the black nation of Asia and Africa. This continuous cruelty by the white slave master inflicted upon the American so-called have angered God, as the cruelty the Egyptian inflicted upon the Israelites during the time of Pharaoh anger Jehovah. This is a repetition of Israel history and of Pharaoh evil in these modern times. The appearancy of Jehovah and of Moses, the servants of Jehovah, to announce to Pharaoh the end of Israel's slavery. Pharaoh became angry and went to work and tried to strike and bring to nothing Jehovah's delivery of Israel through his servant Moses. Brought Pharaoh to his end, and he and his army was cast into the Red Sea because they tried to prevent the freeing of Israel by the God Jehovah. The angry nation refers to white America and Europeans who are also enslavers of the black man. Take, for instance, the part that England, Germany, France, and Italy had all played it, enslavement of black Africans and black people throughout Africa, Asia, and here in America, North and South America. There is no such thing in the nature of white people as justice and freedom for black people, especially not for blacks in the Western Hemisphere. Now the anger is running them mad and they are attacking and killing each other. There is no such thing as peace amongst them, nor can they produce peace for others. Holy Quran refers to this condition as the kind up of hell. Surah 81 verse 12. Never before have you witnessed the evil that is spreading far and wide, every hour of the day, in America, Europe, England, and America being not the first, but the chief slave makers of black people. They dislike the idea of having Allah dispose of their power over the nickel, though they knew this was coming, the loss of their slave. This is the time of increase of knowledge. God has given the black man of America more light to this increase of divine knowledge than any black elsewhere, because he chose to make for himself a great nation out of the former slave of America. Why America is angry at God for resurrecting the black slave to acknowledge herself and his slave masters. This means that they are entering into a war with Almighty God Allah to try to oppose the truth of God preached by the messenger of God. Read the second Psalms. The Great Commotion. The Great Commotion of governments and people of white America. The civil unrest, insurrection, mental excitement, and noisy confusion. There is no action that is being taken, nor can there be any action taken that will bring the people into a better condition of civil action. The white American people have practiced evil and injustice to the man in the mud, the black slave, for so long that they think that there will never be any divine action taken against them for such evil and injustice. But this is what is now affecting. It is the action of divine justice for the poor man, black slave, Allah God, and the person of Master Fala Muhammad, to whom praise are due forever, has the power. Is using this power on the wicked to bring them to their knees. Allah God is the greatest. There is no equal to him. Allah God can take us by our own way of thinking, spin us as though we are a play toy. Cannot fight a successful fight against him. He is too powerful. He listens in on our thinking. He is capable of making us to think, to do that which he desired to be done. The great commotion today is witnessed by the nation and the earth. For it is white America whom Allah God is after for mistreatment of the poor so-called nigger, the lost found original black members of their nation. White America mistreat and kill her black slave for sport. But white America days is drawing to a close, and she will not have the freedom to mistreat the black once slave much longer. As the mistreatment of Egyptian practice against Israel came to an end, so will the mistreatment of the black slave by white America come to an end. White America has so blinded and made deaf, dumb, the blind of this black man America. Her black one slave, that she will make these empty promises to her black slave, and he will accept her false promises, forsake the true promises of Allah God and the person of Master Falah Muhammad, to whom praise are due forever, who is here oftenest, heaven at once. The great commotion will continue in white America until this commotion have destroyed the power of oppositions. The title of this chapter is taken from the Holy Quran, Surah 101, 1 through 3. The disaster. And what is the disaster? And what will make you know how terrible is this disaster? In the English language, according to the Western Dictionary, the word disaster means a state of deep distress or misery caused by major misfortune or loss, or a great event marked by a great loss and lasting distress of infliction. Such disaster is now prevailing in America. It is getting worse daily. The third verse of this chapter of the Holy Quran, Surah 101, verse 3, asks a question and will make you know how terrible is the disaster. The answer is given in the fourth verse. The day wherein man will be as scattered as moths. We do not have to ask anyone whether or not this one of the Holy Quran is now being fulfilled. We see the fulfillment of this prophecy with our eyes and hear with our ears these great disasters that are now striking white America. We see the great division, the great disagreement, disunity, and murder of men. We see the great amount of raping and murdering of girls and women. There's great robbery and thief going on every hour of the day and night. There are great storms and adverse weather conditions. There are minor earth tremors and hailstorms. There are signs and wonders of signs being displayed in the heaven and earth and on sea and land. There is unusual behavior of children. There is unusual love or dislike of children by mothers and fathers and instruction of the process of childbirth. There is the great disaster of starvation and great destruction of health and lives by the use of administering poison drugs, which is practiced upon those who are free and those who are bound. What have been known as white America is threatened today with total destruction. White America is destroying herself in her effort to destroy her black slave. The water and air of white America are being polluted by chemical use. White America scientists of war conducts dreadful experiments on how best to kill human beings by the millions and wipe out the life of whole continents. These are the days of fulfillment of prophecy, and not one, but a many disasters. But in all of these preparations of destruction of human life by the devil, Allah God too has planned to save his people. Allah God has claimed over the black slave as being his people, and the white slaveholders is angry because of the loss of the black slave by the virtue of this claim. Allah God comes to take this black slave away from the enemy white slaveholders and join the black slave into his own kind again. The enemy white slaveholders hate this, but Allah God has the power to force the enemy white slaveholders to submit to his will. It is the will of Allah God that the enemy white slaveholders let these black slaves go free. Allah God promised concerning these white slaveholders and a black slave, the Bible, Isaiah 43, verse 6. I will say to the north, give up, to the south, get not back. Bring my son from afar, and my daughter from the end of the earth, white America. Since Allah God has now claimed the black slave, giving them the truth. Allah God has called the black slave who accepted truth by his name. The black slave who accepted truth of his greatness and being one of the righteous nation of his kind belong to Allah God. Books must be fulfilled, wherein it prophesies that he will claim them to be his own elect. At such time as the destruction of white America, Allah God has not chosen some of the people of America, the black slave, to be his people. There would not have been any fresh slave from white America. The Bible, Mark 13:20, teach us and accept that the Lord has shortened those days. No flesh will be saved, but for the elect's sake, who he has chosen, he has shortened the days. The black slave must know that this is the time of the judgment of both the white slaveholders and the black slave. The black slave must learn to know his place in the judgment. The place of the black slave is with Allah God and his own black people. The black slave had been deprived of knowledge of his God and his own black people. Allah God has come and brought the black slave the truth. The black slave refused to accept the truth. He would be destroyed for willingly and knowingly rejecting the truth when the truth have come and its millers. Disaster, disaster in the country of America. No secret can remain hidden, for the chastisement of Allah God will not let you hide it. As one writer prophesies in the Bible, Isaiah 18 verse 1, whom to the land, shallowing with rings. This prophecy is referring to America, which had a cloud of planes showering the skies over America almost daily. Can America exist? The coming of this white man into the western hemisphere was for the purpose of expansion away from his brethren, Europe. Europe was divinely given to a white race as a home when it was driven out of Arabia 6,000 years ago to abide there on that continent until the days of reckoning comes to them. These are the days of reckoning for the white race, as the religious scholars and scientists agrees. But because of their nature of evil, they cannot help doing evil things against the righteous and make war against the righteous, the black man, to prevent him from accepting righteousness and going and the doing of righteousness. Today, the black man in America is a prey into the strong, powerful hands of his enemies, the children of their slave masters. For 400 years, the slave master had mistreated their slave, and now in the days of their redemption, they are doing everything possible to deceive them from accepting their starvation that Allah now offers to the black man of America. So strong is Allah, so strong is Allah's love for us that He now desires nothing but a total destruction of America. They hate me with a bloody hatred, and they tried to kill me for teaching the truth to my people. They do not want this black man of America to enjoy freedom, justice, and equality. Look what they did to Reverend Martin King, a man who is trying to be their brother, a man who is publicly taught that he did not want to draw the white man's blood. He said if there was any blood to be spilled, let it be the black man's blood. His word came true. Poor man. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll continue this tomorrow. But thank you guys. Appreciate it. But we're going to get right back into this tomorrow. See y'all tomorrow. Peace. Salam. Assalamu alaikum.